All right. Hi, everyone. I think we're live. We're also in the middle of ads, so I'm not going to talk too much. But hi, everyone. Once the ads roll, we're going to do the spiel the usual. But yeah. Aww, Luna. Hi, Lucifer. There's been some movement here again. Let me check. In any case, oh, devil, you know how it goes. Gonna be doing a little intro in a minute or so. It's the ads, baby. I hope you're doing pretty good. I saw the stream. Obviously, I wasn't there. You know about that. But yeah. I don't know really what to do in those moments. You know what? Let me go to. Let me go quickly have a little bio break in the right now. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Also, Larry almost freaked it up. Oh, okay, he left. Yeah, Larry almost stepped on the keyboard. I had to stop him. In any case, hi everyone, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the beautiful Friday special here on twitch.tv/CutePengies. Welcome again. We're gonna continue of the devil today. If you are not aware, Friday specials is are the streams where I do on Friday, where it's a little bit special. We're doing not speedruns. Yes, that is weird. It's special for me. It's not really that special, but you know, I like the name now. It sticks. I like it. But yeah, currently in almost, I want to say, the last part, like the third act of episode 1. We'll see how it develops, but I'm very interested. We're gonna have more investigation because last time, our dear Morgan actually decided to take on the murder case by saying, well, I'm owning this murder robot, so I'm gonna take this as in, I'm gonna make sure that I prove my robot didn't do the crime. Therefore, one, she doesn't get scrapped, and two, if I lose, I mean, at least I'm the one who's going to jail. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. The other part is that we're gonna talk a little bit about what is gonna happen next week, because next week I have some big things. I'm gonna be doing a full run of Pokemon Rangers Shadows of Almia on stream. internet setup notwithstanding, I will do my best. Thank you, Lucifer, for the command. Yes, so the run itself is 7 hours long, or around 7 hours long. My goal is to go sub 6:45, which is going to be long, but I will do my best. The other part of this is that, yes, I will be... Larry is having a moment today. I will be trying to do my best with 6 hours and 45 minutes of run. It's gonna be a bit tight, but also mostly because the run is chill, most of what I'm gonna be doing is circles. It's not gonna be that demanding on me. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I hope you're interested and you will come over. It's gonna be at the usual Thursday time at 9 a.m. CEST. It's gonna be great, and I hope you are interested. I will cancel the Friday of the Devil stream because I'm gonna be tired. I will want a nice break for this one, so I'm gonna actually take a break on that day, on Friday. But it's okay. I know there's Lucifer who's gonna be able to give you a beautiful stream, and I hope you're interested with that. Outside of that, the usual, if you are interested in seeing more of this, or if you have not watched the previous episodes, Of the Devil episodes release every week, except for when I put the live stream on my YouTube channel. You can find it at exclamation mark socials, which is always neat. youtube.com/@cutefangeese, very easy to find. If you are also interested in the content warnings this time, because I always do this, please be aware viewer discretion is advised for the next subjects of suicide mentions, murder, descriptions of acts of violence, and substance abuse. Now, I think that the suicide mentions are going to lean off because now Dr. Schur is no longer suspected of suicide. But I'm still thinking that there's going to be some subjects that will be difficult to breach. So again, take care of yourself. Do not force yourself into watching this stream. Your health is more important than some pennies for me. Again, if you want to support the stream, watching is always great. Being in chat supports me a lot. It also lets me banter a little bit and have fun. Subscribing obviously is the best monetary value for me and you. You get to be part of the Larry gang and get access to the Larry emotes. I hope you like them. They're very cute. Outside of that, Turbo, obviously ads with Turbo are always great. And outside of that, I think it's gonna be it. Let's continue on a run of High Roller Mode into episode 1. So, we're back at Dr. Schur's compound. Morning, detective. Back at it nice early. Hi. Now, would you stand back? Now we're going with this thing open, right? Trying to brute force your way inside. I said, right? Yes, ma'am. We're almost set up for the first stage now. First stage? Of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted. Yeah, just did that, and now it's checking for updates. Oh, they're having a moment. No rush. Would you like to know the password? Do you know the password? There's a password? Oh, I see. Brute force first, ask questions later. Cool. If you're withholding information, I swear, relax. I want to get in there just as much as you do, detective. I'm not going to play games. As long as you say please. Tell me the password, please. I want to be bitchy, but also I don't know how this will play. I'm gonna tell you what her is. SUNS HINE. Lady, I will hit you. Adonai. A-D-O... A-D-O-N-I-A. A-D-O-N-A-I. Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery fine so heavy your teeth will ring for it. Hey, I submitted all my paperwork, even told Rockford the best with myself. So boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed, I do want to say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incendiary breaching system. They really want to use the... They really want to use the bombs, is what they're saying. So this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible. Okay, I'm having issues. Oh, there's no line. Okay, cool. I don't know if it's the game itself or something, but yeah. You're still here? I thought you wanted to look inside. You can go first. Thanks. So the gloves, all the black. That's not a work thing? You're just like a doorman on the weekends too? She do be correct. She do be wearing it. You should... You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eyes when you want to look cool. I shouldn't let her get to me, but I had a late night. Emma and I were at the courthouse until well into the morning, poring over the data Sarah had taken off David's computer. We both knew that it's all to be inadmissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There were a few years of worth of camera footage files we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt. Alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. As far as I could tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book, but it did seem like she was making bored yawns, not thoughtful ones. Her eyes only ever lit up when she saw Sarah enter the panic room. Footage recovered from cameras David assures secretly installed in his basement shows Sarah handing David the red plastic cups that he and Young would drink from at 7:38 p.m. Devil's Proof. Probatio diabolica, Latin for devil's proof, is an impossible proof typically illustrated with the following example. One can prove that the devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. The issue posed by this age-old concept explains why the burden of proof remains with the state to this day. The people can prove an individual's guilt by pointing to their bloody hands, but the defense cannot prove their innocence by showing their hands are clean. Since only one of these tasks is achievable, the judicial system cannot ask the defense to prove innocence, and instead it is the people who are tasked with proving guilt. Users also frequently search for which is real. Because everyone knows you want to know if the witches are real. And when she saw that, what she was holding when she left, if she wanted this room searched, it could only be for... What was this journal supposed to be? Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Mostly bottom with your height, and the tops of some of these shelves. Oh my god, she is violent today. Sure, and you can look up on your own. I get it. Then why not just let me say it? All right, we have an entire room to look into. Let's go on to the left with this chessboard. A toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. Must be some kind of model kit or replica. Wait, that's supposed to be a car? Strange. David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Something caught in your throat, detective? It's not some random sports car, it's a Lowrance Adamant. Let me check. Is this an actual real car? No. This is a made-up car. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds? Wow, that is violent. Is this legal? Is this real? I mean, they do be pretending that the Devil 16 will get to those kinds of numbers, so I don't know. They say there's records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It wasn't unheard of even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Oh, okay. I see. So basically a Bugatti, but supercharged. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission. Thank God. Oh, she likes that stick. When they first left the production line, this conversation is like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you, since we're looking at a model of it, when he could have easily just have bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. Yes, I know, girl, but she's kind of right. Imagine making such beautiful cars just for people to not even drive them. What a waste. Are these drawers or just panels? Maybe if I... Does that sound hollow to you? What? I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. I don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize a secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Wait. A secret compartment. Try searching the cabinets now. Same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you? Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. I'm still wondering if the crack has something to do. So I'm trying to find the 1 pixel. There's definitely a 1 pixel in here that I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be. On this box. Is this one of them? Oh, I found it. Can I have it? Ah. This datapad is displaying a news article from last week. Tesla confirms that he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to Repair loses latest appeal. A higher court judge this week shot down for the 5th time an appeal by the Consumer Rights Alliance on their famously divisive Right to Repair lawsuit, once again signaling the state's intent that corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. Obviously, we're disappointed, said Miles Erkman, head of legal counsel for the CRA. But we got no intention of giving up the fight. People used to be able to fix things when they broke, as long as they were willing to set aside an afternoon towards the task. Now, trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offense, just because the state has lobbyists whispering in its ear for far too long. Erkman's legal strategy remains contentious, and in the eyes of most legal scholars, generally unfounded. The Emergency Industry Acquisitions Act, passed in 2057, guarantees the holder of an intellectual property patent certain state-provided protections against tampering and reproduction and outline fees for those who violate said IP. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals and the state towards corporate entities since the Act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. If Mr. Erkman and the CRA have a problem with intellectual property law, they should take it up with their representatives in the legislature. The higher courts have a place for laws to be applied, not rewritten, and so long as journalism that refuses to buckle to foreign actors trying to stoke anti-capitalist sentiment can be found just anywhere. Subscribe now at the link below to read articles like this every day forever, as long as your card remains on file. Wow, okay. Right to Repair. I didn't realize anyone was still fighting that particular fight. I know someone was still fighting it. She's called Lucifer9783. Cool. Seems like the courts have made their opinions on this matter very clear. So for the foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more. Well, lawsuits would kill things. But once... Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I knew it's you. Water in my gullet. I mean, it means more sales. But also more lawsuits to fight, to kill IP, I guess, is the situation. Consumer advocate groups and disgruntled customers will keep fighting them in courts. Total expenses for which I don't amount to much compared to the extra sales that earn. They still type trade any days. They'll rather see the products in a landfill and their customers mad enough to pop a vein than leave money on the table. Sorry, should have put everything of note off the computer, but I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find? Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so, yes. Yeah, why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade, fresh off the shelf. Would a Dr. David Assure use a box standard operating system on his most private hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents? Are you seriously gonna try and recover lost files, Granny? Okay. Technically, files are not removed until you actually they're not actually on the petition. Putting them in the recycling bin is mostly saying that those places are good to be, you know, used for writing. So yeah, we can recover lost files. Like cops, I don't gonna pay the overtime, so yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. Maybe there's information in the metadata? I double-clicked. What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the Android. You recognize his handwriting or not? Neat. Even words, small lettering with minimal punctuation. Lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization. The penmanship of a coder. First entry stated back in grad school, before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So may I? Only because you asked so politely. Full scan, stream it to WorkNet, high fidelity, legibility, frame by frame. Voice command? She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you? This spot takes concentration. Okay, here. What, you're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Texts are probably already analyzing as we Oh shit! My head! Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over in agony. As much as I enjoy it. Guess I could always enjoy watching her write instead. So how long it's been? 2 months or so. And still that sensitive. So the eye patch really doesn't block your sight? Only a little bit. Like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Luckily, I was so exhausted after the surgery, otherwise I might not have slept at all those first 48. Is your eye going to get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough, I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty, blurry things are that you'd never think about. Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Training wheels? Unless I can do it with eye muscles alone. You just have to keep practicing? Yeah, like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Then what am I feeling in the back sometimes? Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard. You don't ever regret it? I don't know. Not really, I think. Hard to admit you got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh. Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ow. I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. I need to get back on to work. A surprisingly hasty retreat. But now I'm free to read this over with some privacy. From the top then. Grad school. Today was a bad day. Errors in line 21165 to 26643. Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. I worked this morning, yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. Feels nice to put pencil to paper again after who knows long. But my handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. But this isn't even really writing. Seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. Not like the entries about his unintentional Casanovaing. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Anne says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Small people with short sight would only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. Near road for the meshing issue, though. Got good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastards who lives overseas. Bumblo. Helen said we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me. Already got a win. Boosted each other over cheap vodka and with cheaper office supply cups. This is the story Young told me. Western Branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potentials. At a place, it could be even profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big, practically tentacles, should at least be hairs. A squid evolution can do their job better. Colette came in to work for what I thought was a late lunch date. I didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Fred says she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset? Colette wrote man-whore in lipstick across your office door. Imagine if you had actually been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. The thing about Red is if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick and you can tell when Morgan's trying really hard to not laugh at the word man-whore. Silence. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, this is... I noticed it. I'm never driving anywhere again, never leaving home again. I was waiting outside a parking garage with a bottle. I couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with another cop. I soaked into the seat. Ruined it. I want to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long I felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people and their small cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Fred didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. He also didn't ask why I clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. He's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. But whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. And people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are technical, nothing biographical. But the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, but consistent. Here's something I can parse. Just like proofread, I'm working outside the box. Test is suffocating, but you never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. Making things. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows that up with more code brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he really was having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of his new approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart period, or copy someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying, Noble's rivals would never miss a chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered. So what is he talking about? Hold on, this page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And the last person to read this diary should be Sarah. Baby steps today, literally. I never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable. It's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Unintended behavior, since it's too perfect, but it's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. Sarah maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for, and I don't have the time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the test. Kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. Aww, she was proud. I should be more discreet if I want to see her normative range. But the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle his test results. He's using she and her in these passages. It doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads and a neighbor object. But it could be argued that it's odd for David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he's programmed millions of them. There's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah is burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace, especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I'd ask her why they call Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and she also watches movies every other night. She just did that pout she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent, letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I would probably let her see me reading. But I guess I actually have to get back into reading, so... I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded the movies, since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long time this morning explaining to me how important that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm most certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting the stuff. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her, and she laughed too. A laugh. She can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assume she has gotten tired of winning. But then today she just told me she just prefers other games. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab, playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but she was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David. There's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made it dull, and it made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he had told it to do. Like love him. What about the very last entry? It stated Thursday, the day before he died. Losing in, I think. I asked for help so hard to say, but I think it's over. Just talk to her ASAP, she needs to. That's it? That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in there that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. I think it's so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand? If she read this whole diary front to back. Wait, the back? Inside the back cover, there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Or fingerprint reader. iFunc worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share an audio file. I'll want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. Hey, Red. Oh, whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. 4 levels of secret. I mean, five levels of secret is better? I mean, any of those. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah, maybe Magnum Opus, or however the salespeople would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. Just after my little speed bump in 83, I had all that vacation time that the company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so albeit an android was the thought. A vague direction, north. But of course I'm not a roboticist, or mechanist, or even handy, really, I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. First was a research assistant, file name, Virtual. Virtual helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches, saved me a lot of time. There was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote back book reports, more or less, combed through research papers and found me the sections I needed. The 3 of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was, maybe, for the first time ever, the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself, let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil become Enaid, and Enaid was novel, in many ways. Enaid could do more than just identify problems. It could solve them. I mean, really solve them, with its own ideas it didn't copy. And the one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. And Red, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not in use anywhere because we have modern languages like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected to or do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable. Started with my little helpers in Cube, because that's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before I'd come home from work and get... Ahem. But as all the small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including that Cube, well, Cube predicts the tenets. So she is not tenet-based, so... There's gonna be many questions left now. So in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically and literally, because that's what they are, say that I made an AI named Enaid over 2 years ago. For frick's sake, Asher! David, you had one thing to do! I'll give you time to pause if you want to curse me out. Enaid was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one, because that's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated. And together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Enaid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why it didn't stop, why it didn't consider... Yeah, I wanna know why you didn't stop! I don't know if this is being played out of disposition or hearing or worse. I've built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I've built has all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say I've done my part, contributing to the global GDP. This was just for me. I was just building, and I never bothered to... I never wanted to think what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So to whoever asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Oh my god, how many? Captain, Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, Rome. They started choosing their own names. Thank god I'm terrible at it, kind of. And so things sped up. And there got to be, well, should I not say the exact number? You'd probably tell me to not say anything at all, so... More than 300? He's making current AI builders look like amateurs. David! Why? Why, David? David! Some smarter than others, some better at... They're varied. Like, people are varied, but they're all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties. I encouraged them to. David! David is freaking this up! We're gonna fuck our quote case! Irritating moderators in forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual conferences on Neo Alloy battery development. And they all together helped me make Sarah. He spent years like this, spent years working alongside AI. Well, all while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to the Animate 16 actually came from. You probably am some kind of terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day they can get credit for their work. Yeah. That's a subject that I would love to talk about. The ethics of AI and copying their work, but we'll have to go a little bit later. But I did have one Eureka moment on Sarah, because I got humbled. Difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron, a single microscopic human neuron. How it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced. And we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron. And we iterated from there. You can't mean... About 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nervous system. Very time-consuming, of course, but I had help. The manufacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. Could make even more in less after Yukon fine-tuned it. Of course AI fine-tuned it. So we built up nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but she grew. A solution of nanites forming around the skeleton, so it was really closest to. You ever make rock candy? Okay, I have never made rock candy, so I'm actually interested. I will look at it afterwards. Morgan is having the moment of her life right now, realizing that her friend literally fucking... Sorry, trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Sarah isn't one of them. You can't violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. And my hope is that there's the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not... I'm not sorry for what I did. I make things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only things I'm sorry for is that I let Sarah think she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I'm bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own god. For my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So it's my greatest shame that I turned right around and I did the same damn thing too. I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me too. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all of this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly. And neither does the world. What even is Sarah then? Yeah, it's a big question around the ethics and seeing people. But I think that some people know my take on those situations because, yeah, I know how it's like. I know how it feels to be considered like other, and I kind of feel that Sarah is in the same boat at this point. So yeah, pretty tough to determine at this point. Well, they'll come after her if they can, and in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her, not protecting her like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. In the meantime, I dropped a cloak of skin-dipped Tesseract code around her so that it should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her gin bar was plainly visible so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. I'm asking from a place of curiosity rather than prejudice, just so we all can. Oh no, totally. Like, I assumed it was from curiosity because at this point there's a lot of questions I do have myself. But also, like, considering the current game we're in, there's probably a thing about like prejudice and how, you know, what would make a person a person. Sorry about the songs. You have no idea. I cannot ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes. I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. I have a lot of questions I like to ask, and a lot of swear words I like to yell. I also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in, followed by my phone, and maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Reyes left me with his diary. If it's destroyed, they know I was the one who did it. Which would be its own admission of guilt. Which would land Sarah in the trash compactor and anyway and me in a jail cell. In the system and my DNA on file ready to be matched to any number of previous. So I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do what I do best. Bluff. Bet. Bully and brutalize my way through this. Now, viewing all this with that mindset, what I have actually learned. He didn't talk about plans for killing himself. In his journal or the message, he sounded conflicted, not suicidal. But he did go to great lengths to get me to take Sarah. Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. The phobies of court cases. If he wasn't to take his own life, was he afraid that someone else would? So how did it go? Well, how should I put this? Didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to the door is because I chased that scarecrow of Platinum Plan through hell and back. Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for these gogs. In its slang term, growing in popularity among adolescents, referring to a suspected spy or undercover member of law enforcement. Derived from groundhog, a burrowing rodent known for standing erect on its hind legs when scanning its surroundings for predators. The term carries a negative connotation, with the implication that being that the subject is doing a poor job of blending in or disguising their surveillance activity. E.g., Easy Gog spotted who wears a blank baseball cap to a protest. Or who wears G-Hog? I don't think it's a... I think it's one word, because otherwise it would be weird. It would have been hyphenated. Also, no one wears fucking nice shoes. Wink wink. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. But you did find a psychiatrist's office. Sort of. They say they were, and the place, it, looked the part? Why? Because they had couches. She couldn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought because you're with the company. No, I wanted to help. I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks, the furniture, it did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone or just getting his CCE training recertified. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing, she only cares about results. Did more than enough, both of you. At the very least, it divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean it. Good work, friend. And thanks for the urgency. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30%'s the going rate in my industry. How would I take 5% of your tab instead? Tab, I'm a minor. The states pay for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no, Signal must have caught out. Oh no. Right, surprised it took them this long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR, but today you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right in the state's crosshairs. I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court. On a strict timeline though, right? Guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus, but they gladly leave your guest pass ID at every door along the way. There's still service passageways and stairwells, belts that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. I use my other skill set to get around, so I'd take mine. What, your pass? I'll tell him we got us mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need it to be. I never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career, I can be a pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Sure wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him, since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should try a new field. This detective work stuff is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something? You did say cops are all short. A girl with long legs could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you. Damn. Damn. I love it. I love it. I love it. Morgan, how did you get so turned around? God only knows. Luckily I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face. Right. Listen, Morgan, I'm not sure that I should actually be talking to you without legal present. Oh. I mean, leadership hasn't told us how David died. How much help could I be? I see. It's not that I don't trust you or anything. It's just, think what with the Sarah issue, you should do whatever you have to protect yourself, Dallas. Yeah. No, for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be in any trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. No, if anything, it's the big names were going down. Going down? State was practically licking its lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood, and looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh. What, like fines and jail time? For the first 2 weeks, sure. Then sanctions. Yeah, state sanctions. They can sanction Noble. We're too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company. I think I'm gonna be sick. I just hope your board goes quietly instead of what? Scapegoating. Offering up smaller names on silver platters. Full cooperation and government oversight on the surface. A slaughter beneath as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? And if the public's lost faith in the Animate 16, they can't do a recall. Not at this scale. The state will make them do a flat refund. Flat refund? The loss would be... Yeah, your board would probably just want Sarah to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but one they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. That's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI. David Assure was always of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the Animate 16. Everyone wins! Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one who approved Sarah's registration. You win. Win what? Ask away. Well, if you insist. I don't have enough. Okay, I am entering this with not all the cards. Fun. Let's go for it. Humor me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Same as any rational company that wants to make money. We don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk, because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are. Because you use Tesseract. Trying to code an AI in Tess is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Sarah was running on Tesseract yesterday. The language is as safe as you say. Isn't that proof enough? Proof of nothing. For an AI lying to another system about the code you're running is child's play. For an AI built by David Assure, something that simple would be... Better change the subject. So what? So making an AI takes more time and resources. Isn't an issue with funding? No, you can't just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you topple. You make it sound like building an AI is impossible, even for David Assure. Any chance you'll testify to that? It sounds impossible, but he's dead, and it looks like it wasn't Android that did it. So I guess he was just that good. Better than you'll ever know. Oh, I got it. We're unlocked. Noble spent a month promoting the A16 as the combination of David Assure's work. So now that the marketing line is suddenly a huge liability, can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but his design for synthetic motor neurons, that was the big one. The components that allow your one androids to move realistically. It pushed the timetable for one androids ahead of by years. And yet, compared to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits that his private work bore. If Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel that he had been holding out on them. And the company, they were appreciative of his contributions. I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased, but the board was very enthusiastic, so that would spur them to be protective of David. Or would they fear that he was gaining too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No, they need a strong motive to justify killing their golden goose. Mere paranoia isn't enough. For these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten the bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is compromised. I'd stay up all night sick with dread of the idea, but the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. The A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there were an issue, we would have caught it by now. It would have been axed a long time ago. How many A16s are out there anyway? We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 and 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data. Yeah, practically got the spreadsheet seared into my retinas. What do you want to know? Oh, dialogue in the dialogue. What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen. Mostly hardware complaints, it looks like. Batteries running out too quick, eye tracking off by a degree or two. Typical stuff. As cliche as that sound, 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern look like? They're distributed like you'd expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both. And since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside population centers. They can do the rural, hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of his hospitals and offices, and, you know, adult industries. Yeah, that's not surprising. Oh. Sorry, didn't mean to be blunt, I just... No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee. There are a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it. But I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What do we call it when the customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair? Oh, very high turnover in the pink market. Doesn't stop you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell to them, not directly. But they are the resellers, and the companies never pretended to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought I read that Right to Repair got shut down again. There's been a grey market for software androids for years or decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sales number I've seen, RTR getting canned was barely a blip on their radar. Sorry, didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with this topic. Me? No, I don't care. I just realized my left sock's on inside out. Damn, now I'm wondering about that myself. You bought that? What about shipping? This was basically a showroom, but you have a real factory well south of the city limits, correct? Yeah, biggest company manufacturing complex in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out of there? Anything stand out? Some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. That's on early to get started now, but we usually see, something wrong. No, the numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? Well, this section is just a count of how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for errors, so there shouldn't be much need for corrections. It's no problem though, I can view the edit history and see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added? Deleted? No, the overall sum's the same, it's just a bunch of swaps. Like here, 29 FFCE 010311 taken out, returned for adjustments. 27 FCDD 019634 substituted in, shipment leaves on time. 67 BBTC 899543 returned to assembly for revisions, replaced by 67 BBTD 592698. Shipment leaves on time. So does all that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacement before shipping is uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. Despite individual units' imperfections among shipment at that stage in process, there must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority. Probably both. Must have. You don't know who made these changes. I can tell you there was somebody important. Small last-minute changes to which android got shipped out. Not very juicy on its own, and it's a long ways away from explaining why someone would want to kill a David. But it was hidden, and that means someone didn't want it found. So we got some shipping data, and the psychiatrist for David. Okay, thanks for sharing that data. Sure. Did you find what you were looking for? Hell if I know. Fair enough. Now we can talk about tenants. I know you're convinced the tenants are safe. So how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind, is the dog to the left or to the right? I'm supposed that it's gonna be a sort of like Schrodinger's cat. I'd say the dog is on the left, the cat is on the right. You might expect half of people to say left, half to say right. But actually, the entire is almost entirely dependent on the native tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right. The language they read affects how they process information. The language affects how they think, and it's the same for machines. People can learn a new language, and it can change our perspective. But machines can't learn a new source code. Every update's a reincarnation. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because a 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. Because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah, unnecessarily cruel. Any other questions before I find a hole to hide my head in? I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry is a little outside my purview. What is this? The compound found in David Assure's blood. The poison? What is it? It didn't match anything in any database the medical examiner had access to. That's crazy. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it's a match for anything in Noble's internal data banks. We don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish. No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You still have hazardous materials around. You think it was something industrial? Suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. It's not exactly... What is it? it doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 52345S, a synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. Cyanotonin. That explains a lot. Yes, that explains a lot, but I will let you mess with that after the ads. Thank you, and I will see you in a little bit. Welcome back from the ads, everyone. Let's continue our discussion into serotonin. The neurotransmitter would interact directly with the nervous system, in David's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why it was a preset in his personal manufacturer. Sarah's nervous system, with 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. Do you think that was what killed him? Ellen Young led the development of serotonin, didn't she? Ah yes, she did. I should go and ask her about its composition then. Normally, someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago, but she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented. That works out nicely then. They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink at a 15-minute stand-up. I heard a rumor she once said bathroom breaks at a timesheet theft. Yes, it is, and I don't care. Aren't they? I'm kidding. But you should be careful about criticizing a superior where people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office. No one but the two of us listening in. Thanks for your cooperating, Telos. When the state storms the building and starts zip-tying people, I'll let them know that you were helpful. Haha, yeah, nice joke. You're joking, right? Sorry, I got excited. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Actually, this one more thing I wanted to ask you. What is that? How long have you been a corporate spy? What? Yesterday, you let it slip that you worked in consulting. Had you guard down because I'm not part of the industry? I was a consultant. What are you talking about? When I walked in here, you said you didn't know how David died. But just now you called serotonin a poison. What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man, and I'm sure you've got practice and answers to every logical point I could raise, so I just say this. Does the Nevis guy bit really work on people? Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence with. Though it's not entirely an act these days. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consultant. 4 quarters of internal affairs, spy hunting at the Western Division, then 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. Here's your spy for Noble. Retired. You're working 6 days a week, 5.5 days a week, and in quality assurance. Trust me, this position is a cushy, generous reward for my past services. Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on. I have some old inboxes it still checks. So can you tell me about what the hell is happening around here? I am the one investigating David's death while you old co-workers are off trilling dead funds. It's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion. Blood, not accident. He's finally shooting straight. But something happened to him afterwards. Did his transfusion not last? No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier, and he did get injured. But it was on the base, during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous live test. His life was never in any danger. Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker. Not even a good photo op, which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got a hold of the story, started puffing it up, astroturfing, painting over socials and virals. By the next morning, we had the military thinking we're leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data. And the states praising our tech while one side of their mouth threatening to get missed us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble CCE has been slammed ever since. Trying to find enough RAM for the story we can walk back the claims on without torpedoing our state contracts. The Colombo time is paying off, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know what happened to Assure, whether it was AI gone rogue or company in fighting gone too far. But I can tell you it wasn't done by consultants. That all you wanted to know? You worked in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist, or was it all cloak and dagger bullshit? I know that office. Know some old co-workers would see them. So it's a front. They do both. So he was probably getting training, and he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for. Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I expected was... You okay? That's all. Unless you've got any advice. You're saying you want a consultation? Couldn't hurt, right? This company, all these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them. Well, that's just business as usual for me. Well, Colombo time has been... good. Up until now, there's been this grating and ambiguity about what actually killed David. We'd had to use guesses and processes of elimination, and even call them pseudonym. But I finally identified what the person that was. Now I just need to figure out how it got there. Or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground with kilometers of concrete facelessness and bureaucratic authority surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle of in every office of every floor of this temple, built to interpret the inscrutable divinations of a temporal fermental oracle named Share Price. Back in the belly of the beast, and yet I feel more at ease now that I have all weekend. Makes sense. Now that I know Noble's my enemy, I know where to aim. All that's left to do is pull the trigger. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. And that sound just now tells me that it's playing its role perfectly. I'll never have a real use for a firearm with this much bloodware. But just by carrying it around and paying attention to when the hot safety flips on, I always get a heads up when the police have entered the vicinity. Hey, Detective Reyes, it's Morgan. Happened to get your contact info when you got me cleared for the crime scenes yesterday. Delete contact. Bug this contact. Stop voice to text. What to stop voice to text? Just wanted to check in. Report this contact voice to text disabled. And advise you that Noble scares shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative down when it comes to fetching documents. Log this contact. What makes you think we're at Noble? My bad then. We're gonna say anything. And whatever you do. Don't start your investigation with a stock buyback program. Trying reverse psychology, it only works if I care what you think. Stop voice to text. About time. Thought I have to ride the elevator for the next half hour. Well, good counselor. Your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Deja vu. When you have a moment to speak in private. Always, but who's asking? The board. What are the chances? I've been wanting to speak to them too. Reyes is not good at this, no, I agree. I'm gonna save. Because it's been a little bit. Also, I think that the game kind of chugs at some points, because it started chugging right now, so... Time to enter the conference room. Oh, I love I love Neon Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Evangeline Morgan. Helen Young. Thank you for making time in your schedule. Her posture, her tone, the fold of her clothes, professional, dialed up to 11. Corporate armor, a full set, her guard is up. Just Morgan is fine. You just a few minutes early, Morgan. Typical corporate never be the first one to show up, pissing contest nonsense. Doesn't even make sense. They called me in here. How could I possibly be early? Damn, I should have saved here. I'm gonna play the game, because at this point I don't think I can push the bullshit. Pardon me in that case. Thousands apologies, you voyeuristic rat-racing hollowheads, but I'm immune to your corporate posturing. If anything, knowing that you're all watching me right now, pretending to be busy with something else, just makes your cowardice that much apparent. So who exactly will be joining us? You don't have time to remember their names, and it won't do you much good either. It's alright, so they're not just rich, they're anonymous rich. The Mob Act guarantees a minimum level of security and peace of mind for any citizen who might be targeted due to their financial status. Someone got affected by that Luigi. We don't have the evidence here, gotta wait for the slip up. Yeah, basically, it's my mood on this one. The Protection of Reasonable Anonymity Act is a law passed in 2059 and amended in 2061, intended to protect the individuals the safeties of individual with income above the 99th percentile of the nation. I wonder why. Labeled in the press as the Mob Act for the supposed goal of hindering mob justice, the PRAA establishes procedures and funding for technology that helps individuals within that particular tax bracket keep the name, face, and address off of the main net, ensuring that they and their families are not prejudiced against just because of their financial status. Maybe they were prejudiced because of a good reason. Economic uncertainty and civil unrest in the 2050s led to a series of highly publicized crimes wherein corporate executives at a number of high-profile companies were stalked, harassed, and assaulted in net organized flash lynchings. After a particularly chaotic attack that resulted in the hospitalization of a 14-year-old, the PRAA was proposed, debated, and signed into law in just 11 hours. No shit! I wonder how the law works that fast. Huh? A flash lynching case has not gone to trial since 2062, but the PRAA continues to protect citizens to this day. Some economists have pointed to the PRAA and its promise of anonymity as to why the nation has enjoyed a relative insurgence in corporate immigration over the last few decades, but the purposefully obscure nature of the law's implementation have made the task of weighing its true economic impact effectively impossible. Spoken like a true believer. Except mob act is what normal people call it. Toting the party line but allowing yourself one instance of rebellion? Or just a slip of the tongue? I would never fault anyone for wanting their privacy, especially not job creators. It must be pretty inconvenient not having a name to call them. Not really. Conversations with them are always one-sided. Feels like a great environment to do business in. Look at the building you're standing in. We managed to eke a meager profit somehow. As if it works. Didn't take you for the might mixed right type. And I didn't take you for a clueless boor incapable of reading the room. Sorry, did I say something off color? I was only being casual since it's just the two of us in here. Maybe we should just take advantage of this rare bit of privacy. Clear the air. You're here to ask about Sarah, yes? As I said before, I had no idea that Dr. Asher had been building an android on his private property. I can say here and now that no one in Noble Electronics ever suspected that he was working to undermine the Tenet framework. He's trying to sound candid in her tone, but she is choosing her words with Sergeant Scalpel. Was she coached? Is that the truth, or is that your statement as VP of Android Futures? It's both, of course. Dr. Asher was always more than happy to hold himself up and work independently. We both know that. True, he could be pretty reclusive. I'm sure it caused all kinds of headaches, even disappearing on you like that. Must have been especially difficult when he came back with breakfast that propelled Noble to the top of the industry. You should take a seat. That's everyone. Shall we begin? Friendly bunch. Is there a problem with the sound? Anyone get muted by accident? No. Okay. Thanks for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm actually a bit flustered having you all show up here. I didn't expect to talk to anyone higher up than a service associate. Investigating the death of Dr. David Asher. Why wouldn't we take that seriously? Because you want me to go away. That face was not happiness. At least, half of you do. The others aren't sure yet. You must be confused. The board is, as always, united in its decisions and its visions for the direction of the company. Uh-huh. A board of directors is just 13 roulette-rolling psychopaths who get together and vote on whether or not to execute the CEO every 6 months. None of them would be where they are if there were anything else. But I happen to know how that kind of person thinks. The way I see it, there are two possible outcomes. Option 1, you oppose me. Shut me out completely, stonewall me, stall me, and wait for me to walk into trial so unprepared and ill-informed that I inevitably lose. Obviously, I don't like this option, but you can't be big fans of it either. If I lose, the world will learn that David Asher was killed by an android he programmed. Then every customer you ever had, and every lawyer they have ever seen on TV, and every firebrand strapping young 60-year-old junior senator looking to make a name for themselves will use your company balance sheet as their personal chew toy. The company is more than capable of, after which the state still might just gobble you whole and throw down enough sanctions to deperson whomever among you cries no fair. The companies and allies at the capital can more than fend for themselves. Yes, probably, but not definitely. Which makes it a good gamble. Still my turn to talk? Then on to option 2. You cooperate with me. I use what you give me, forge for me, to win at trial, proving that David wasn't killed by an android. When the markets open tomorrow morning, you get all another round of stock buybacks on the initial dip. Then pat yourself on the back for staying calm as you continue to profit off David's legacy for the next 100 years. And you won't even have to worry about him speaking out of turn. Yeah, this is what happens when you have the cards. That's only if you win. If the company cooperates with you, denies that David was killed by, and the state beats you anyway, it would be catastrophic. Yeah, it's a gamble. But if at least some of your board wasn't considering it taking it, I wouldn't be here. Well, busy people, and I hate to drive a wedge between such a close-knit group of friends, so how about this? Option 3. Hedge your bets. What? Put a little on black, put a little on red. Spread the love and lower your risk profile. Don't make any statements about a trial. Tell the media the state's got your wine pap in a vice. Hold until just before the markets open Monday morning to send out your PR packages for rubber stamping. After you already know who's won. One way or another, this trial will be over before the end of the day, and you will never hear from me again. So just don't shut me out completely for another few hours. And does anyone second that motion? Very well. We can answer some of your questions, Counselor. Better make them count then, so no reason to be shy now. The poison that killed David Assure has been identified as serotonin. You familiar? It's one of our many patented materials, as I recall. You recalled pretty easily yesterday. Gee, what's changed? But intellectual law can be very complex, Counselor. I'm not sure how much or anyone in the company could tell you about serotonin at this time. Well, if you can't tell me about it, who could? You did lead its development, did you? Yes, I oversaw the project, which just makes it that much harder to speak freely without compromising the confidentiality of the teams that reported to me. I understand. That sounds like bullshit and I don't believe it. But I'm not asking for trade secrets here. It's a perfect match for the only foreign substance found in his blood. Serotonin is what killed him. The state will say the same. That's not possible. You have to elaborate. I'm sorry, but I can't say any more at this time. So much for cooperating. And if I were to ask you as an officer of the court, I would ask you to be patient and wait until this afternoon. ADA Rockford has already called me to testify. Already? Damn it, I got cocky because of the cop's late arrival. Emma must have gone straight for the throat first thing this morning and left the investigating for later. Now, knowing her, she probably managed to get the ID the serotonin before she went to bed last night. So are we still having this conversation then? As I said, I'm sorry, but I have to take more than just my personal feelings into consideration here. There's a great deal at stake. Corporate speak for you too stupid to understand why I'm being dense. He's just trying to shield the company, plain and simple. Lapping as Ellen Youngdark on a crusade against government overreach. Did they name her like that just for that joke? But she's that busy defending Noble, she might be leaving herself unguarded. Why is she here anyway? Why am I speaking to her and not her lawyers? That's right, this is a vulnerable position for her. She wouldn't put herself in check like this, not unless she was forced to. So that's it, acting as their mouthpiece isn't some honor for her. This is a punishment. She's being used as a meat shield. They're upset with her, perhaps even suspicious of her. Time to find out why. Alright. I don't think it's jealousy, but it could be jealousy. Needed a drink. Yeah, David's will, Chelsea, and Sarah. I think David's will is a good forward, but I wonder if Sarah is actually the weakest link here. So I'm gonna go with David's will because I think it's safe. Has David's will been located? It has never gone anywhere. It's still in the safety deposit box. We'll retrieve it and have it read once all the unknowns surrounding its death have been made into knowns. But David's will hasn't even become part of the equation yet. It may not be for weeks at this rate. Is that calculated though? I'm gonna Aren't you dragging your feet? I'm afraid there's something that in that will that you'd rather not have this see the light of day. You're not jealous in-laws who've been bribing the country sheriff's counselor. Okay, too much. That was, I tried to be silly, but no. What about Sarah? What else the quote ends up labeling her? Sarah is a remarkably lifelike android. Had things worked out differently, you might have wanted her as the A16 posted girl. Or A17, or 18. Could have driven a lot of sales, her cute little pout projected across the sides of skyscrapers. Hypothetical, as has been made tragically obvious to all to us, that Android is nothing like the A16. That it may be associated with our products going forward is nothing more than a massive liability. Yet you wouldn't have the A16 without her, and if they could take her apart and learn from her, they could have the world. So was the motive to try and pry Sarah away from him? The thing is that most people wouldn't know Sarah existed until today, so that's a weird push. I could press, but then I would lose more chips. I'm gonna stay and see what jealousy is about. I have to admit, I'm surprised you aren't more shaken by up today, Mrs. Young. I'm processing. After all, you and David did have a history. You started at the same time, didn't you? Yes, we were colleagues and cordial with one another. Don't be so modest. You helped him create the one-point doctrine that saved the company. It's a gross exaggeration. Noble is far too large an organization to be affected by the contribution of any single individual. Suppose you're right. No one person could change Noble's fortunes overnight. Except for David Assure, of course. But he was a once-in-a-generation talent. The guy Noble chose for the advertisements and the one they commissioned editorials about. Sorry, you're right, I shouldn't have equated the two of you. I just hope his one-point doctrine doesn't fall out of favor now that he's on. Yes, well, we certainly would want that. Well, she didn't exactly explode with rage, but she definitely reacted. There's real jealousy here. There. Whether it ever boiled over, though. David and Noble. I didn't mean to pry about your relationship with David, or like thereof. I suppose I'm just curious about his standing inside Noble as a whole. David sure was, and always will be, an outstanding contributor to the company's forward progress. Nothing will ever change that. Not even if he was killed by one of his own creations. That would, of course, be a tragic element that would call for reconsideration of his legacy. She was almost off guard there, but she was surprised for me to be asking about Sarah ruining his reputation. Besides Sarah, David's reputation was crystal clean. He never went against the company once, did he? That's... Unless I'm mistaken, and he and Noble were on bad terms. In that case, I might get the impression that some parts of the leadership were actually glad to see him taken off the chessboard. That is not... Something buzzing in your ear? Fine, I suppose it makes no difference if you hear it now or at the trial or on your feet tomorrow. David Sure was being sued by the company for breach of contract. Satisfied? There we go! Now we're talking. Well then, I suppose that's... blackjack. So you couldn't have mentioned this breach of contract earlier? Not without complicating the company's position unnecessarily? No. But there's no hiding it at this point. It'll come out soon enough. There's a paper trail. Much more than that. We'd been making moves to let him go for some time. Noble Electronics parting ways with David Assure. Must have been one hell of a breach of contract. What did he do? He betrayed the confidence of the board. Was he contesting the suit, putting up a fight, engaging in legal battle against a mega corporation without even telling me? Until recently, yes. You mean until he died? Oh, recently. We spoke on Friday. That was what you two talked about in his parlor. No, this was earlier in the day. We were in this room, actually. Him, me, and several members of our legal department. It was an arbitration. And did you come to an agreement? A compromise. He would resign from his position in 2 quarters, foregoing royalties on any products we would develop after the next 24 months. In exchange, he wouldn't be publicly fired, and he would still be credited on all past, present, and future filings. All very reasonable. On paper, maybe. No matter what the deal was, letting go of David Assure is insanity. Reasonable, yes. We ended on a good note, I like to think. We shook hands, even took a photo. Yeah, that looks Lovely. He looks like he's just dumbfounded at this point. Hey. Something funny? Didn't know the board told jokes. They don't. That was legal, expressing the displeasure with how much paperwork my good note ending left them stuck with. Children, it was just one night of overtime. So while I was spending the Friday night blowing the ink dry, you paid a visit to David's penthouse. Something left unfinished. Professionally, it was a good meeting. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. Much cleaner than I expected. The doctor sure did not want to retire. He didn't want to be forced out of the company when he was the one when he had contributed so much. I didn't enjoy doing that to him, so I came over that night to apologize to him. We talked, reminisced. When he brought out the drinks, I thought we'd be toasting to a new day. A few minutes later, he was dead. Because of that AI. That AI. Any idea how it came to be? As I said, I had no idea he was working on it. My question was more broad than that. If you really believe David built an AI, how do you think he did it? How does Noble Electronics think he managed to work around the tenets? It's quite beyond my area of expertise. And no one in the company could call themselves an expert in illegal technology. But some in the R&D department have theorized that he created what they call the Wax-Swain decaying priority loop. Which, as I understand, is an unstable, resource-intensive, theoretical method for pseudo-randomizing the weight amongst preset tenets. All about as far off target as it gets without gas. But that kind of inelegant brute force nonsense seemed a far cry from the kind of thing David would create, and I seem to have taken us over a lot of time slot. But I didn't even get to wave goodbye. You're serious about this trial? Don't I look it? You're not just making a play, you're actually going to defend that thing. I'm just defending myself, Mrs. Young. Oh yes, of course you are. My mistake. I hoped you might be rooting for me, to tell you the truth. I may yet save everyone's stock options. The stock options will be alright either way. They always are. That gamble I thought you bought. Which outcome would you bet on? Finally, an easy question. Why would I bet is that whatever the outcome, the company will eat it up and shit it out with very little difficulty. You painted an ugly picture back there, but I've already seen the future. And it's just another marketing gimmick. The great Dr. Ashur, too smart, too bold, too far ahead of his time. What spark of his genius remains buried in the inspired Animate 19? I guess that depends on... You were exactly right. He is more valuable to Noble as a dead man. Dead men can step out of line, or put their foot in their mouths, or hold politically inconvenient options. To a good salesperson, a dead man is just another selling point. Pardon my outburst. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week for me. I'll let you prepare for your afternoon then, Miss Dr. Young. No one calls me doctor. Ask them not to. You didn't want the title? At times, I have thought very little of it. The PhD I earned from a Noble-owned school. Biochemistry. Been in a large department at Noble before they started work on warm androids in earnest. They probably didn't have many expectations for the program back when she was a part of it. I was proud of it when I first got it. Something changed? It never seemed to catch on. People didn't use it, so eventually I told people not to use it. A very IQ social power play, you understand. David never insisted that people use it either. That's very different, and I think you know it. That image of David and Ellen there was like Twink and the Cougar who's got her sights set. Yeah, very. David sure didn't have to. I'm going into this trial, my trial, with a lot less ammunition than I like. I'm beginning to form a picture of what actually happened, maybe even circling the train on a suspect. But Emma wouldn't be generous enough to give me breathing room. She'll want to end this fast. Maybe if I do badly enough, it'll flip her sadistic switch and she'll want to keep playing. So you got charged with owning an AI. First time you do something exciting in your whole life. I gotta find out through the freaking grapevine. My life is plenty exciting. Freckles. You could board a polish off a resume checking robot. I need to do this very close to the mic because I think it deserves it. I fucked Catholic school teachers with more active night lives than you. Okay. So would you rope in? Anyone I know? Oh shit. Are you representing yourself? Fits within my budget. Do your budget, you're going to jail. Thanks for the vote of confidence. It ain't a matter of how good a lawyer you are. Anyone who represents themselves in court has a fool for counsel. You represented yourself countless times. Not for anything I had a chance of losing. Your pal hasn't even been dead 48 hours. You're too close to this. You'll make mistakes. The powers that be really didn't want to give me a rain check. They're taking this very seriously. It's more dangerous than that. They're scared. Is there a precedent? An ad committing murder. How do you pass law school without learning how to look this stuff up? I know what the net says. I'm asking you. The answer to that is not helpful to you at the moment. So what words of advice do you have? Get yourself a new lawyer. Gonna close the chat now. Don't lose Freckles. You don't need me to tell that. I mean that. What are you reading, Adonai? I was reading David's employment contract with Noble Electronics before I got waylaid by spam text. The one we found inside the panic room? The man who represents himself has a fool for a client and an ass for an attorney. Yeah. But what if your attorney is yourself because you're an attorney? Looks quite extensive. Should I skim it for you? Depends. Did you pass the bar exam since we last spoke? Not really, I see. You comfortable? I am not. Full expression is a double-barreled takedown, yeah. I'm not. Ever seen that old movie with the gorilla and the skyscraper? They begin it to the city in I understand the analogy, Adonai. I wish I could call it overkill, but considering the specs Sarah put up yesterday, maybe those bindings aren't heavy enough. Come to think of it, those numbers might have been faked, along with the rest of what the machines read. If this was all a smokescreen David had added to help her lay low, then her actual strength is more like... If your joints weren't currently locked up tighter than a vice, do you think you could escape this place? I hope that question is not indicative of your strategy. This is me trying to distract you, Sarah. Enjoy the hypothetical. I would estimate that the building's automated security would put 9 holes in me before I reach that door. And it's not so bad. I would not be able to function after the 7th. Ah. Well, if you haven't been planning some great escape, I would not do that. That would be illegal. And you would still be on trial. I remember. So what have you been doing all day, then? I am attempting to recover memories from Friday. You can do that? It's not dissimilar from the process of recovering data erased from any other computer. Despite the difference in scale. I won't be able to remember everything, but if successful, I could recall individual pieces of information that could prove useful. That's a lot of coulds, and even if you're successful, you may not like what you find. Whatever happened that day, either you or David wanted you to forget it. Yes. Even so, I have to remember, because it's the last day that Father and I... Any luck so far, then? I can recall a slightly musty scent. Wow, case closed! What about you, Adonai? Have you formulated a plan for the trial's proceedings? Something like that. Young insists that serotonin isn't what killed David. I don't buy it. There's no explanation for how he died. So she is lying, and if she repeats that lie on stand, I'll need to expose it. Somehow. Would she really commit perjury to protect Noble? To protect one of Noble's patents? She doesn't strike me as the corporate zealot she makes herself out to be. But you believe that she had something to do with Father's death? What do you think? I don't know. I don't know why anyone would kill father. Considering the possible consequences of what he confessed into in his journal, I can think of... But then again, I don't understand why anyone would kill anyone. Do you? Bell tolling for D. Means that the doors to the courtroom are unlocked. Let's... Wait, can you walk like that? What all we'll have to do. Wait a second. Across the hall, that's... Porter! You're here. Keep waddling, Sarah. I'll catch up. As you say, Adonai. This will be a coin toss. You're that surprised to see me? I'm not surprised you'd want to see the outcome of this trial. I'm surprised you'd want to talk to me. You're defending the android, right? Yeah. I'm defending Sarah's innocence. I don't think she killed David. Do you? I don't think it matters. No one knows what killed David. Whether it was with a pen stroke or a sleeper agent to kill an android, or some plain old goddamn arsenic day. How could anyone be that smart be that dumb? Why the hell did he ever sign his soul over to them? David may have been in over his head, but he wasn't a bad negotiator. I've read his contract. His position was strong. You're the lawyer. But a guy like me working in music? I'll tell you how many people I've seen screwed over by a big smile and fight signing bonus. No such thing as a corporate generosity. If you think you're getting a good deal, it's only because you don't know how much you just sold. How much you just sold? David's real wealth lay in his intellectual property, the potential energy of it hanging over the whole industry. If he sued even 1% of the companies taking inspiration from his Turing solution. There's a clause in his contract. If Noble did fire David, he would have retained control of all of his patents afterwards. Yeah, see, that sounds nice. Only they never did fire him, did they? He just happened to die. An unforeseeable act of God. In contract law, they call that force majeure. (3:29 p.m., July 2nd, 2086. And we're in the court. I think that for the purposes of entertainment, we're gonna stop here for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Next time, the trial. I hope you're excited. But yeah, if you're enjoyed what you saw and enjoy your time, don't forget to follow, subscribe if you have the money or if you're interested in watching the past episodes. Reminder, episodes are on YouTube being uploaded every week for catchback. Outside of that, I hope you had a wonderful time. Exciting, looking forward to the next one. Yes, really. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but we're doing some Pokemon Ranger runs next week on Thursday. I hope it's gonna be great. We're gonna have a lot of fun times. For some reason, I wanted to do this. 7 hours, yeah, it's gonna be a lot on me. Again, next week also, I might not do a Friday special, considering that run on Thursday is gonna take a lot of my brain cells, and I might want some break after that. So yeah, I will not be pushing too hard for that. Outside of that, not much to say. We've been new marathons have been announced. I'm looking forward to submitting to them and really get excited. There's gonna be a few things that I'm working on. One, the CG51 run with MIDI. That's gonna be very interesting and I hope that it actually brings over the results we want to see. There's also maybe going to be a run from Lucifer and I together. We might be doing some Yaz Rising together. And outside of that, there's going to be Preventathon 6 has just been announced. I'm really excited. I hope I will be picked, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see. In any case, I will see you back next time for more of the Devil in 2 weeks. Or earlier if I feel better. I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.